Jayu Kupi Janavallava Givaradari. Jayu Kupi Janavallava Givaradari. Jayu Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana. Yamuna Tira Vanadari. Yamuna Tira Vanadari. Jayurata Madhava Kunjabiga. Racharaisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki, Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramai ki, Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Sundar ki, Shri Shri Plana Singhadev Bhagavan ki, Padit Pavan Shri Prabhupada ki, Shri Gurudev ki, Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, 4th chapter, 9th sloka. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vedi tatvatah tyatva deham punarjanma naiti mam eti so Arjuna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Translation. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Purport. The Lord's descent from his transcendental abode is already explained in the 6th verse. One who can understand the truth of the appearance of personality of Godhead is already liberated from the material bondage, and therefore he returns to the kingdom of God immediately after quitting this present material body. Such liberation of the living entity from material bondage is not at all easy. The impersonalist and the yogis attain liberation only after much trouble and many births. Even then, the liberation they achieve, merging into the impersonal Brahma Jyoti of the Lord, is only partial, and there is a risk of returning to this material world. But the devotee, simply by understanding the transcendental nature of the body and activities of the Lord, attains the abode of the Lord after ending this body, and does not run the risk of returning to this material world. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Lord has many forms and incarnations. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. Although empiric philosophers, as stated in the Vedas, Purusha Bodhini Upanishad, Eko Devanitya Lila Nurutto Bhaktya Vapi Hridi Antaratma. The one Supreme Personality of Godhead is eternally engaged in many transcendental forms in the relationship with his unalloyed devotees. This Vedic version is confirmed in this verse of the Gita personally by the Lord. He who accepts this truth on the strength of the authority of the Vedas of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who does not waste time in philosophical speculation, attains the highest perfectional stage of liberation. Simply by accepting this truth on faith, one can, without a doubt, attain liberation. The Vedic version, Tattvam Asi, is actually in this case. Anyone who understands Lord Krishna to be the Supreme, or who says unto the Lord, "You are the same Supreme Brahman, the Personality of Godhead," is certainly liberated instantly. And consequently, his entrance into the transcendental association of the Lord is guaranteed. In other words, such a faithful devotee of the Lord attains perfection, and this is confirmed by the following Vedic assertion. Tammeva Veditviti Mrityumeti Nanya Panta Vidyate Ayanaya. One can attain the perfect stage of liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there is no other way to achieve this perfection. Svetaswara Upanishad 3.8. That there is no alternative means, that anyone who does not understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is surely in the mode of ignorance, and consequently he will not attain salvation, simply so to speak, by licking the outer surface of the bottle of honey, or by interpreting the Bhagavad Gita according to the mundane scholarship. Such empiric philosophers may assume very important role in the material world, but they are not necessarily eligible for liberation. Such puffed up mundane scholars have to wait for the cosmic mercy of the devotee of the Lord. One should therefore cultivate Krishna consciousness with faith and knowledge, and in this way attain perfection. Om Tat Sat. Om Jnanat Mirandasya Jnananjana Salakya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Nami. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We welcome all of you to the Sunday feast program. Today is a very important day in considering the few days of the advent of Lord Krishna. We are going to observe Shri Krishna Jayanti, Janmashtami, from 6th, 7th and 8th of September. And this particular verse speaks about the transcendental appearance of Lord and the significance, importance of relating with His appearance, knowing the transcendental pastime, what is the end result to the living entity. This is the sum and substance. If you can carefully observe the recommendation of Vedic literature, one can very easily assimilate that they always give prominence and reference to rendering devotion service to the Lord. Other paths are little tough, challenging, and they are sometimes misleading too. So the easiest way one can reach the Lord's abode is by rendering devotional service, unalloyed devotional service. Srimad Bhagavatam also recommends this process of devotion. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in the material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. The very expectation of the living entity, the destination of the living entity is to reach the abode of Lord Krishna, Goloka Vrindavana. But the material world and the three modes of material nature is keeping the living entity preoccupied and busy by alluring with different amenities. Srila Prabhupada used to give the example of a child getting lost in the exhibition. The child is roaming everywhere, hankering to meet the parents. It is crying, it is filled with emotion. And the passersby, they, after seeing the child's sarcastic situation, are filled with sympathy. They go near the child, cajole the child, speak pleasing words, even get the child a few toys to play, and few people go further and even get some eatables, fancy items for the children. And the child is busy for some time, and again when it gets reminded of the parents, the separation, immediately the child gets crying. So this is the situation of the living entity. Living entity, with attached to the sense enjoyment, is preoccupied in the material world, forgetting the fact that it has to meet its Supreme Father and the relation. So the Acharyas, great devotees, are coming to this material world and reminding us that the Supreme Father is waiting for us for the reunion. We have to go back home, back to Godhead. This is the purpose of life. So we need a self-realized person. A devotee like His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In the late 60s, when he arrived in the West was preoccupied with so many activities. But Srila Prabhupada made the endeavor of reaching the message of Lord Krishna to the Western world. And many of them, as soon as they heard from the lips of the pure devotee, they immediately got connected to devotion to Lord Krishna. This is the great contribution of these acharyas. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, the devotee's life, very life, and their activities are given great prominence. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kadayantasya mam nityam tusyatija ramantija. What will a devotee do? What are the activities of the devotee? What will be the priority of a devotee? Lord Krishna very wonderfully speaks in Bhagavad Gita. Macchitta, his consciousness will be filled with Krishna Katha. He will always speak about the wonderful nectarian pastimes of Lord Krishna. His activities will also be based in bhakti. So, whomever he meets, whomever he interacts with, they will also be infused with devotion. We see practically this in the life of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. From 1965-66 until he disappeared from this material world in 1977. In a span of 11 years, he circulated the world 14 times and he established more than 108 centers, temples. And everywhere, thousands of people showed tremendous enthusiasm, favorable situation in performing devotional service. So one person, one pure devotee of Lord Krishna can impact such a big way in this material world. Whatever we do other than devotion is not very prominent. The sum and substance will be devotion. So these devotees remind us the purpose, responsibility of our life. This you can observe in our family also. In our family, the youngest member will always be cajoled by the family. They will always bring the most favorite things of that little child, and they will be very particular about facilitating the child, pampering the child, and the child will enjoy all the privileges, all the facility. So similarly, if one becomes a devotee of Lord Krishna, then he becomes the favorite child of Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna himself personally takes the responsibility of facilitating him back home, back to Godhead. Tesham sadatta yuktanam vajadam priti purvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Arjuna, the intelligence what is needed, that will be given by me. Normally in the material world, if one goes for a job, first they will scrutinize, interview the candidate, whether he has the necessary qualification. Then comes the appointment order. But in Bhakti, Krishna gives first the appointment order and then he infuses the qualification. What a big contribution. We need not worry, I am not educated, I am a fresher, I am not experienced, I don't have this exposure, I don't know anything about software. This is a big responsibility. No, Krishna is giving much more responsible position and he is not expecting any qualifications. He says, in fact, I will train you. We are always very particular of getting trained by the expert, by the master of the field. We don't want to take chances. And Krishna assures that he will personally train, guide. How will that be possible? That is the very reason of Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita has been spoken by Lord Krishna. And what is this? The course of advice, the workshop on the field, where it is necessary, where it is needed the most, on the field. Where did Bhagavad Gita take place? It took place in the battlefield. Normally, if a teacher wants to teach or impart knowledge, he needs a classroom. And the classroom should be very silent, very serene atmosphere, so that the student need not get distracted. And he needs many amenities. And then he would be interested in teaching. But kindly introspect the situation of Bhagavad Gita. Thousands of years before, right in the battlefield, when people are waiting to fight, Krishna spoke these words. And Arjuna needed these words the most. He was in a helpless situation. He was in a critical situation. Imagine a scenario where an individual is hurt, an accident, and he is severely hurt, and he needs the best of the best treatment to save his life. So doctors will be giving all the amenities, is it not? The ICU, intensive care unit. So similarly, the living entity in the material world should realize that there is an emergency. This is an urgent situation. We have too little of time and we have a big task. Is it not? So Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a child living an irresponsible life. If the child is pampered, cajoled always, facilitated always, then the child will think there are people to take care. and I need not be very stern and responsive. So it will be not only restless, but it will be carefree. Carefree. So similarly, the living entities who are not very spiritual, who are not inclined devotionally, may be kept occupied by so many sense objects and notions in this world. But a very merciful spiritual master devotee comes near him and reminds him the purpose of life. This particular privilege, he was bereft for so many janmas. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, there is a very wonderful sloka which says, Ananya cheta sadatam yomam smarati nityasa tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yogina. Sulabha partha. This particular devotion service, this particular path is very, very easy, sublime. It is wonderful. Srila Prabhupada said, we can make back to Godhead, we can reach Goloka Vrindavana by happily singing the holy name of the Lord. What will people like to do when they are happy? They would like to sing, dance, and eat opulent dishes. And what a devotee does, he will always sing the glories of the Lord. He will be very happy. He will dance in ecstasy. And who came to impart this? The Supreme Lord Himself, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 500 years before He came, and He imparted the way, the very activity of a devotee. He raised both of His arms and He filled His mouth with the chanting of the holy name. And He appealed, advocated everyone to congregationally chant. So we are all very fortunate that we have in access of this wonderful, important instruction of even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna Himself. So this reveals the inner intention of Lord. The Creator is the best person to reveal. That is why it is stated here from Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam Manadi Radanta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yavvanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabam Madhurlabam Atma Bhakto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is a very, very ancient individual. He is realized of everything, past, present and future. The very purpose of the Veda is to understand His glories and to render service unto Him. So when an individual is realized of this fact, then he becomes responsible. The attitude changes. The understanding deepens. And then he becomes prepared to absorb this very important instruction. So, we devotees should take advantage of this wonderful realization and contribution of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and inculcate these instructions. He said in Bhagavad Gita, Satatam kirtayanto mam yadantasya dridavardha namasyantasya mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. A devotee will be always interested in hearing Krishna's glory. Sadatam, sada, always. That will give him the necessary energy. Nurture his very life. So, in this world, we should realize our higher responsibility and live a very, very responsible life. And that can be reflected, expressed best when we render devotional service to the Lord. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a green grass and a dry grass. He asked his students when he was going for a morning walk, what is the difference between a green grass and a dry grass? Immediately the students got into the technical details. He said, they said the chlorophyll content is less, it is less nourished. There are so many versions and answers. None of them could appease, satisfy Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada said the difference between green grass and the dry grass is simple. One is connected and one is not connected. The dry grass is not connected to the roots. Hence, it is not nourished. Hence, it is not enlivening. But the green grass is connected to the roots. It is nourished. So, it is very enlivening. So, when the living entity is connected to the Lord through the unalloyed devotion, it is in the constitutional position. Jivera Surupo Hoi Krishnera Nityadas. We are at the best when we serve the Supreme Lord. And this is expressed by all the Alvars, great devotees at all times. They are always interested in serving the Supreme Lord. Even when they are deprived of the basic necessities of life, still they enjoy life. Why and how? By singing the Lord, by speaking about the Lord, and by rendering devotional service to the Lord. This is our pre-request. So, this privilege and gifted opportunity we get with the divine blessing of a self-realized soul. So our heart is filled with the gratitude once we are recipient of this wonderful favor. Even in this very world, we understand if somebody is doing a favor, offering a help, we are very grateful to that person. We always are realized of the fact that when I was in a deep hole, when I was needing the help, this person came and did a favor. Because of that favor, I am in life what I am today. So I owe all my virtues, all my facilities to this person who did the favor. Is it not? That is the way this material world works. And what to speak about the spiritual favor, which we were deprived for many thousands of births. So, that is why a bona fide spiritual master gains exponential prominence. He does not give us a favor like anybody and everybody in this material world. He is expressing and extending a huge help which can lift us from this material platform to the spiritual platform. This favor, nobody is prepared and nobody is ready to contribute and do. That favor, a pure devotee like His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada is capable of doing. So, we are very fortunate that we have in access of this wonderful system process, and we should always be with gratitude to these great teachers. And we can express our gratitude in the best possible way by following the instruction of these spiritual masters. There is an anecdote told by our great acharyas. You will be all aware about a king called Akbar. Akbar, once after a restless night, he woke up in the morning and he moved towards the courtyard balcony, and he was yawning and he was seeing the beautiful onset of sun rising in the horizon. And at a distant place, he was seeing a washerman working very hard with the steam, washing his clothes. While he was approaching the balcony, he hit somewhere in the floor, and a sharp object protruded and caused a big injury in his thumb in the feet. So the entire ministry came to know that our king got injured, and they all got together and discussed. This created a huge commotion in the ministry. To and fro they discussed, and they came to the conclusion: our Lord, our king, the great Emperor Akbar, got injured because he saw this washerman. Oh, what a worst scenario. This washerman is so inauspicious that by just seeing the washerman, our respectful Lord King happened to get injured. So, if this scenario is left free, then so many people will see this washerman and lot of untoward incident will happen. So, it is in the best of our ability that immediately we should hang the washerman. So, the ministry, the ministers, the councillors were very, very keen in getting the washerman hanged. And the people were discussing, immediately it was flashed, headlines everywhere, that the washerman is going to get hanged. So people were thinking, worried, what did the washerman do? He was just washing his clothes at a distance in his place with his team. And king, the kingdom, the palace, ministers have decided to hang the washerman. So Birbal, very intelligent minister, he came to know that the washerman is going to get hanged. So immediately he came to the minister, he spoke to the ministers, and Birbal advocated after a very serious hearing. Birbal said to the minister, it is the king who is supposed to be hanged. Everybody is puzzled, startled. What is Birbal telling? Oh Birbal, don't talk like this. You will be given heavy punishment. You are speaking against the king. Do you have the justification? Yes, I have a strong point to do this. So everybody was compelled to think. Because Birbal, if he makes a comment, if he strategically makes a suggestion, it is not to be discounted. It will be supported by a very, very valuable point. So the king also heard that Birbal is advocating the king himself to be hanged. So the king wanted to know what is the reason and what wrong he has done. So he personally summoned Birbal, and there was one-to-one discussion. Akbar and Birbal. Akbar, the king, with a lot of emotion, he asked, Birbal, why did you tell the ministers that it is the king to be hanged? What wrong I have done? So Birbal, with his own usual wit, he said, O king, the washerman, poor fellow, what did he do wrong? And see his miserable condition. Simply by seeing you, he has been decided to be hanged. And what so many things wrong will happen if you are allowed to live. So many people will take darshan of you, and the washerman will be hanged just by seeing you. What not will happen to others? So it is you who is supposed to be hanged. Then Akbar kept his two hands in his head, and he realized the poor pathetic commotion which has been resulted with his useless ministers. So teachers are telling this story to bring a very, very important point. In this material world, we are accusing different people. We are very, very particular of pointing several individuals and cornering. This happened in my life because of this person. He is responsible for my experience. He is responsible for my pathetic condition. In this way, we are accusing, we are pinpointing, we are cornering individuals for our pathetic situation. But we are not realizing that we are the big reason. Because of our irresponsible attitude and role in this world, we are in the place where we are. So, in spiritual life, this is very, very important to realize the fact that I am the reason for this suffering. Because material world is part of the creation of the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord has tagged this world Dukhalayam Masasvatam. This world is temporary. This world is full of sorrow. Nobody is an exception. So, in spite of this instruction, we are coming to this world hankering for happiness. It is like searching for drops of water in the desert. At a distant place, we will be inspired with a small picture of oasis. But when we go there, we will realize that there is no such oasis. And further down, miles apart, still we will be allured of an oasis. But until end, we will realize, going here, thither and thither, we will not be seeing the oasis at all in life. So, teachers are saying that in this material world, one is hankering for happiness and peace. But unless one surrenders to the Supreme Lord, renders devotion service to the Supreme Lord, one will be not blessed of enjoying the bliss. Nitya Ananda, eternal bliss, will be enjoyed only by devotees. And what one has to do to enjoy this privilege? One has to sing the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One has to helplessly, sincerely endeavor to render devotional service to the Lord. Then, by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, one will get this special favor. Tesham yavanu kampatam adam ajnanajam damaha nasayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena pasvata. This darkness of ignorance will be rid, will be knocked out with the light of knowledge. So we are in darkness. We are ignorant of the fact of the glories of the devotion. So Krishna is enlightening us. These words of Krishna are very, very important to the living entity in getting guided to the spiritual world. A senior devotee will phrase it like this. A person who is in the cockpit, the pilot who is driving the aeroplane will have the headgears. He will continuously get instructions from the ground station. He will see the amenities in the dashboard, different parameters, and these will guide him where he is supposed to head towards and what he should do. Consistent guidance. So similarly, a living entity is consistently guided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead with these special instructions. As long as we are in line, we are aligned with these instructions and guidance of the Supreme Lord, reached by His confidential devotees, we are secure. But when we disconnect ourselves from these amenities, great danger awaits. We are wishfully neglecting, ignoring the guidance offered by Lord Krishna. Then the Creator need not be blamed. It is our careless attitude which is causing this condition of our life. So, we have to realize this fact and take full advantage of the privilege. Such liberation of the living entity from the material bondage is not at all easy. The impersonalists and the yogis attain liberation only after much trouble and many births. Even then, the liberation they achieve, merging into the impersonal Brahmajyoti of the Lord, is only partial. And there is the risk of returning to this material world. Unlike bhakti, no other process can guarantee a foolproof process. That is why devotion service is recommended and advocated in this age of Kali. Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukadeva Goswami, what is the purpose of life? What is the goal of human form? And what is the path one should follow? Then Sukadeva Goswami in reply says, O Rajan, O Emperor, you have asked a very important question. The answer is, O Rajan, Khalir doshe nide Rajan, asti eko mahakun, Kirtana deva Krishnasya, mukta sangha param mrjayet. O King, just by rendering devotional service to the Lord, one can attain liberation, which is very difficult to attain in this world. The normal course, one has to go through painful process and experience to attain the lotus feet of the Lord. But in the age of Kali, it has been simplified. It has been made sublime. It is very easy. All one has to do is to sing the glory of the Lord, utter the holy name of the Lord. And that is why we have temples, we have Kirtan, we have bhajans, we have discourses, we have festivals. What is the purpose of all this? To give a facility, an opportunity to the lost individuals. So it is a big endeavor to facilitate all the living entities back home, back to God. Srila Prabhupada says, Christ is always referred as Good Shepherd. He is referred as Good Shepherd. Why he is referred as Good Shepherd? A shepherd becomes good when in the dead of darkness, in the chilling cold climate, if he realizes that one lamb is missing, he will go. That is the inspiring quality of a good shepherd. He will go in the dead night with a lamp and he will search for the lamb and he will get that lamb back to the protection and safety. So similarly, a devotee, a Lord, will be very concerned that all his living entities who are part and parcel of him should make it by reaching the abode of Lord. So the Lord is very interested on our welfare. And similarly, the devotees are also very keen on our welfare. That is why we observe His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada signed all the letters in all the places with a line, tagline, which says, Your ever well-wisher. What a phrase. A person who is wishing us well in all circumstances and situations. We find even friends, relatives, our own kith and kin fail to honor this statement. But a devotee, in spite of not having the acquaintance, not known to us, he is wishing us well in all the situations. He is very particular that we make it, we go back home, back to God. That is an immense wonderful quality of a devotee. So, at the onset of observing a big festival of Sri Krishna Janmashtami, the transcendental appearance of Lord Krishna, we have a big responsibility and opportunity in our hand. Normally when we go to someone's birthday who is very, very special in our life, we take a gift and go. And that gift will be something which is very favorite to that person who is celebrating his birthday. And what are we celebrating? We are going to celebrate the Supreme Person, Lord Krishna's birthday. We should know what is his favorite, what is his liking, and what he will appreciate. That gift we have to take and give him. So what is the gift? Lord Krishna will be very appreciative. It is devotion. If we look to Krishna and submit a prayer, oh Lord, I want to be a nice devotee. I want to render devotion unto you more sincerely, more carefully, more dedicatedly. Then Lord Krishna will be very happy and he will profusely bless us. And all the rest things will automatically fall in place. This Janmashtami, let us invite Lord Krishna into our hearts and enlighten our hearts and mind. Live a purposeful life way forward. This will be giving immense pleasure to Lord Krishna, and he will do the needful. So, with these few words, let us chant the holy name of the Lord for a few times in a dedicated, sincere way. Please join with me by sincerely chanting the holy name of the Lord. You are expected to close your eyes so that we will not get distracted. So next 5 minutes, we'll all chant the holy name of the Lord together. Please repeat after me. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Together we chant. Slowly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, louder. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki, Patit Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki, Gurudev ki, Gaur Premanande. We strongly request and earnestly advocate that people who have not cultivated the habit, who are yet to chant, to decide today and make it a habit that 10 minutes in a day we attentively utter the holy name of the Lord and spend time to chant the holy name of the Lord. Instead of telling spending, we should say investing. Investing our time in pronouncing the holy name of the Lord. Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Pancharantam Adeivame Manasa Raja Hamsa Prana Prayana Samay Kapavada Pitta Kanta Varadona Smaranam Kutaste. Kulasegar Alvar says one should cultivate the habit of chanting the holy name of the Lord. One's mind should be preoccupied like the Hamsa bird swirling around the stem of the lotus. Similarly, let my mind span like mind, swing around, circumambulate around your lotus feet, O my Lord. If that happens, then eventually I'll be successful in chanting and remembering the holy name at the time of the death. So, we should endeavor to chant the holy name of the Lord while we are adult. So, these few words, we will come to the conclusion of today's session. We are very, very happy and we earnestly request all of you to enthusiastically participate in the Sri Krishna Janmashtami festival. Devotees will be making announcements in this regard. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki, Patit Pavan Srila Gurudev ki, Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. We appreciate thanks His Grace Madhu Gopal Prabhuji for his wonderful discourse. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Any devotees having any questions or any comments?
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai.